Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the Yankees snapped a little, honeymoon there, losing the first game to the Houston Astros in this American League Championship Series. Now, look, I think there was some good things to take away from this game, some bad things to take away from this game, maybe some grim realities. But nevertheless, the Yankees dropped the first one there. So we'll get into all that. But before we do, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. So wherever you are, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, you have no idea what website you're on, but there's a subscribe button. Make sure you hit that. You can get wrap-ups after each game throughout the rest of the season. And, of course, throughout the rest of the offseason. Again, hopefully, we're talking about the Yankees in the World Series. Again, after this first game, you're probably not thinking that. But nevertheless, there'll be some more episodes of content throughout the rest of the season and offseason. So make sure you subscribe to this podcast. So the Yankees dropped the first one, 4-2. Now, look, I think there's some things, as I mentioned before, that, there's some good points you can take away from this, that Houston didn't seem like Superman. They didn't seem like Mr. Unbeatable. And there were points in this game early on and maybe even after on where the Yankees could have possibly stolen this first game against Verlander. Again, Verlander early on wasn't that sharp. Now he did, eventually settle in, similar like Severino. Again, we have a long layoff after the pitch in a while. Then he kind of settled in there. But the Yankees, again, had their chances early on. And, of course, Taillon opposing Verlander, I think he held his own. It was actually better than expected. And again, he kept the Yankees in the game, but again, they couldn't punch through. Now, I got to blame some of this on Boone, just the starting roster there. So obviously, Matt Carpenter, they put on the postseason roster for this American League Championship Series, as well as Frankie Montas, who made an appearance later in the game and gave a home run. I was okay with both those guys just being on the roster. Again, at some point, we don't know where the series is going to go and whether you have pitchers on. You're going to have to decide, do you want someone going on short rest or do you want someone like a Frankie Montas or Domingo Germán out there to make a start there? So, we'll see, when that time comes. But again, I was okay with Montas and Carpenter being on this roster. Now, Carpenter had one appearance in the divisional series, a pinch hit at bat where he did nothing. Okay. Now they decided to give him the start here. Now, I understand what they're trying to do. They're looking sort of like the maximum effort. Now, look, this lineup back in June with both Carpenter and Stanton, and it would have been phenomenal because Carpenter at that point was red hot. He was doing great, hitting home runs by bunches. The kind of the Roy Hobbs natural story there, right out of the movies there. And, of course, Stanton, very good, for the most part during the regular season, as long as he wasn't on the IL, was, good in there as well. So, look, during the regular season, I understand doing that. You're doing this now in October. I mean, Carpenter hasn't played in 3 months. And now you're going to get him a start against Houston, against Justin Verlander. I didn't hate the move. Again, for one game, I'm okay just checking out just to see potentially what could be there. Now, look, that's probably the Yankees' best lineup in terms of what could be potentially offensively, yes. But you got your answer on it, and I think moving forward, you're not going to see that anymore. But for one game, I'm okay experimenting just to see how that would be. Now, you also, with that in mind, you're putting Stanton in left field, which he hasn't played in months, and of course had the lower body problems, the Achilles problems during the last couple of months of the season there. So, again, not the wisest choice. Now, you could do that at Minute Maid Park because it's a small left field similar to Fenway Park there. He doesn't have to cover a lot of ground now. I don't think you're definitely not going to see that at Yankee Stadium because they always say you need a center field to play left field at Yankee Stadium. That's why you always see someone like Hicks out there or Oswaldo Cabrera out there, someone very athletic because, again, you need to cover a lot of ground. Not really the case at Minute Maid Park. So, again, for one game in Minute Maid Park, in the warmer weather, the retractable dome and all that, I'm okay checking that out for one game. But moving forward, I do not think you can see a lineup like that. But nevertheless, for the Yankees, and look, they had their shots early on in this game. Verlander wasn't sharp, and it wasn't until the second inning there that eventually the Yankees got to him. Thanks to that man, Harrison Beta. It was pretty much the Yankees' offensive MVP during the divisional series. Gets the Yankees on the board during this series with a home run. Put the Yankees up on a breaking ball. They, again, powered it, good swing, hit it to left field there. Put the Yankees on the board 1-0 in the second inning. And again, they had a couple of runners on for Verlander in the first inning, did nothing with him again. So he wasn't exactly sharp. And again, you kind of see he hasn't pitched in a while a little bit. And they had their opportunities, but not take it, unfortunately, in the first. But then Beatty with the home run. But Houston, and you see how fast they can score runs in that ballpark, just whether it's a double or home run. McDonald answered right back with an RBI double in the bottom of the second there. So ties the game up immediately 2-2. And that's how they are for a while there. Now, the Yankees had another chance against Verlander in the third inning with 2 runners on, but Matt Carpenter was up. And you get to see, look, this guy's in faced live action since like July, and it just showed. Struck out on 3 pitches. I mean, he really, to be fair, I mean, a couple of those calls on the inside corner there, were really a little off. If you just look at, kind of the box, the box little, the strike box they have that, the K zone, I guess they call it there when you watch it on TV. Balls really looked inside there, so I think he got hosed a little bit, but still, he just looked completely overmatched. I mean, made no solid contact at all. Just a couple of, fouled my one ball back there. Again, so not a good at bat for Carpenter. It was a big spot for the Yankees. Maybe they could have gotten ahead there. If you could have got a double or a home run or something, that could have definitely changed things. But eventually, Carpenter would strike out, and that was really the Yankees' really last shot to really do anything against Verlander. I mean, he would settle down at that point, and at one point, putting down 11 Yankee batters in a row now for the game for Verlander. Again, wasn't his greatest start in terms of we've seen Verlander being tougher. Just gave up one earned run, but went 6 innings, but with 11 strikeouts. So the Yankees pretty much, had their chances early on, but then eventually Verlander settled in. He mowed down, eventually would mow down 10 Yankees in a row, sit him down. And again, 11 of his overall outs were put out via the strikeout there. So in that sense, was dominating in that sense, but not this greatest. Again, he was doable. And for the Yankees, Tyone, look, he gave the Yankees probably more than you expect. Pitched into the 5th inning there. Now he would give up 4 hits overall, just that 1 earned run with the RBI double, the 3 walks and no strikeouts. But again, I guess in the 5th inning, it looked like he was maybe possibly coming apart a little bit. I would have been okay. Let's let him go a little bit. His pitch count was very manageable, but decided to bring out Clark Schmidt. He walks the next 2 batters, so now you have a bases loaded situation with 2 outs. With 1 out. But then Schmidt's able to induce a much, much needed ground ball double play just to keep the score at that point 1-1. And again, you think a little bit, hey, they're hanging around. Maybe they could steal this game. But eventually in the 6th inning, they would put this one away against Schmidt. And it was basically due to home runs from Gurriel and McCormick. Gurriel kind of understand, again, he's been a while since his last home run, but again, a very dangerous hitter there. But the one to McCormick, and he's at the bottom of the lineup. I mean, you can't surrender a home run to that guy. But nevertheless, Schmidt would. And put Houston up at that point 3-1. And that was pretty much the game right there. Now, they did bring Frankie Montas out in the 7th inning to get him some work. And he hasn't pitched since like mid-September. And I was okay in that spot just to see, hey, look, get him some work. And a pitch in a while. Maybe need him for emergency start at some point during the series. Or maybe if one of the starters kind of crumbled early on, you got to bring him in to give you like 3 or 4 innings. Again, I was okay with that moving the point. Again, the game was already over anyway. But nevertheless, he would give up a home run of his own to Jeremy Pena. Again, Pena hit that dramatic home run in the game 3 of the divisional series in that 18th inning there. So again, one of the another one of the exciting young players for Houston, and that was the game pretty much there. Now the Yankees would spurt a little comeback, try to at least attempt to come back in the 8th inning. Rizzo would hit his solo home run. It seemed like Rizzo was like the only, kind of the offensive play. Him and Beta seemed like the only offensive players that showed up to this game. Now the Yankees eventually get 2 runners on, Stanton and a walk to Donaldson. Again, Donaldson's great walk. That was basically all he did in this series. We put two runners on for again Matt Carpenter. So again, Matt Carpenter early on in the 3rd inning had had 2 runners on, struck out in a big spot. Now this time they decided to bring out that closer Presley. Again, Presley was the guy who gave that dramatic 3-run home run to Aaron Hicks in one of the games the Yankees won against Houston during the regular season. You would like that in this game. That would have actually put the Yankees ahead. But nevertheless, Carpenter would strike out on some breaking balls, inside breaking balls. And again, he wasn't even close on his pitches. And you look at the Verlander at bat, again, might have got hosed a little bit with the strike zone, but of course this at bat just whiffed at the pitches. It wasn't even close on him. I mean, nothing solid. We're like, wow, you almost got that one. Or he was right on it where you foul it back, nothing. So I don't think moving forward, you're going to see Carpenter in the starting lineup. And I don't know, maybe you got to also make a decision about Donaldson because he's just an automatic out. I mean, his only contribution in this game was a walk. That's great. And his only contribution back in the divisional series was an opposite field single before Beta hit that 2-run home run. I believe that was game 3. That's Donaldson's base contributions for the postseason. An opposite field single and a walk. So this guy, I mean, he's just been terrible. And as even they said on the broadcast yesterday, I mean, his last home run was September 17th. So it's basically more than a month since his last home run. And he's like defensively, he's been fine. Like you kind of understand, look, you just want good defense. You don't want someone, bobbling the ball out there. And I know late in this game, they kind of moved some guys around. You had, Cabrera at shortstop and IKF at playing third. He made one play there. It's fine. But, IKF is not exactly giving some great offense either. So, again, they have Oswald Peraza on the postseason roster. Maybe now you give him a look at third base there or some, just move some guys around. Whether you play him at shortstop and have Cabrera play third base, or vice versa, have Peraza at third base and Cabrera at shortstop, or something like that. Because again, he just looks, Donaldson's giving you nothing there at third base there, just offensively, and usually you're okay with that normally. At catcher position and shortstop, you always want to say, hey, look, just play good defense and don't worry about your hitting. But third base, you need usually third base and first base. You want those players at those positions to give you some offense there. Now DJ's not available again. Wasn't on the postseason roster with the cracked foot, and nor you really thought he would be out there anyway. Look, I understand Carpenter, I admire his guts, gutting it out, but again, he's dealing with also a fracture in his foot, and he just looks like terrible at the plate. And, even though Boone's like, oh, yeah, he was drilling balls in batting practice. Look, he just looks overmatched, looks old. And look, it's a bad situation. I appreciate him coming back, trying, but I think moving forward, you can't see Carpenter in the starting lineup, and you probably shouldn't be able to see Donaldson in the starting lineup. Those guys just look stiff, and it's just not a good time right now, and you need something. You need some offense. So the Yankees dropped the first one, by a score of 4-2. Again, the good points were that, look, the Yankees had chances against Verlander early on and maybe had an opportunity later on against their bullpen, but really early on against Verlander, he didn't look sharp. Now, it could have been because he hadn't pitched in a while. I understand that. Now, he did get torched. He got beat up during the divisional series against Seattle, but again, Houston climbed back and win that game for him, so you didn't really know that. So, Verlander hasn't been the Mr. Untouchable as we remember him from years past. So you want to take, some consolidation in that, fine. But now game 2, you're going to have Framber Valdez, the tough lefty. He went 17-6 this year, ERA under 3, about 2.82. So, again, quality left-handed pitcher. Now, since he's a lefty there, again, definitely not going to see Carpenter in the starting lineup there, again, lefty on lefty. So, you probably go back to the more traditional lineup, which I think the Yankees should have gone to in this game. What we saw games 4 and 5 against Cleveland, which was pretty much having Bader center field, and Cabrera at shortstop. Now, I know Hicks got obviously not available with the knee injury, so, he may switch around a little bit. Perhaps, you put Cabrera out in left field. Again, he's a switch hitter, so he can handle the righty pitching, and maybe we see Peraza at shortstop. Or again, I'm okay with seeing maybe IKF at shortstop and then Peraza at third base. Just another look there, because, again, Donaldson just looks terrible during the series. Not even hitting balls hard, to the outfield, or hitting balls at a one strike, like, oh, he just almost had a home run. I mean, it just looks overmatched. Looks like he's guessing, like Ron Darling pointed out at this point, and just again swinging at bad pitches, looking at breaking balls at not even great breaking balls. Just they snap it right down the plate. It's like, come on, put a swing on that one. So Donaldson looks all slash. So let's see if Boone looks elsewhere throughout the rest of the season. So Severino was good in his last start. Game 3 should have gotten the win. Now again, little bullpen problems later on cost him the win there, but again, was give Yankees a quality start. So look, I think he could keep the Yankees in this game. And again, if the Yankees could steal game 2, that's what you want on the road. Split that, and then you take your chances back in the ballpark in the Bronx. So game 1 in the books, not a good start. You kind of expected that, but the Yankees didn't look like they were completely overwhelmed. Houston looked kind of beatable, so they're not Superman. So that's the only good news you would take away from that. So make sure subscribe to the podcast, get an update after each game there. Again, hopefully talking about a long series and possibly maybe into the World Series. Not going to predict that, but again, it would be nice. But nevertheless, there will be new episodes coming up throughout the rest of this postseason and the offseason. So make sure you subscribe. Catch you next game.